Hi guys, today we will talk about if statements. So it will be some intro of how to write if statement, if else, and the elif, so-called else if. And then we will write some little example of determining the age, of printing out the age. For example, if a guy is less than 12 years old, this is a child from 13 to 18, this is a teenager, and so on, right? So just to demonstrate you the power of if statements. Okay, let's start. Let's launch, as always, we will launch Spider. Let's go to Anaconda. There is Spider here. Okay. Also, we will cover today Boolean variable, just a continuation of previous lesson about types and types of variables. You will know what is it actually, the Boolean variable itself, right? And we will finish with input statement 2. I will show you how we can enter some stuff from the keyboard, what Python can understand, what you enter something from the keyboard. Okay, so let's create something, probably a new file. I will call it I don't know, h.py. Okay, so we had hello.py previously. This guy will be h.py. Let me a little bit make it larger. Okay, so what is if statement? If statement is something what has if conditions. It's conditional statement. So usually the way we write if statements is something like if expression in Python when do something. I mean, just don't take it literally here. It's just some pseudocode. And then this is the core of if statement. So expression usually could be true or false, right? That means there is another type of variables called Boolean variable, right? So, for example, last time we studied what there are some integer variable a equals 2, right, or b equals 10, something like that, right? There are some real variables, 1.0. There are some text variables, strings. This is a string, right? And today we will introduce a new variable type, is Boolean variable. Boolean variable can be false or true. So, for example, E could be true or E could be false, right? So, how it works? If expression can be evaluated to true statement, when something inside the if body, it's called if body, right? Like when you separate in Python, you actually put the statement, and everything that will be executed in Python in this statement is separated by 4 spaces here, right? And I can write everything, a lot of commands, right? As long as there are 4 spaces, the Python understands, okay, I need to run all these commands if they are inside, if if this expression statement is actually true, right? So what does it mean? Let me give you an example, simple example. If if expression is evaluated to true, right? It's Boolean, and E is already Boolean variable, right? It has a value of true, right? If E, when print something, E equals true, right? Let us execute that and see if it does the job. Actually, yes, it does the job, right? So what if E equals false, for example? Right now, nothing is shown here, right? That's kind of obvious. But I wrote you expression is, I mentioned it to you that expression should be evaluated to true or false, right? What does it mean? For example, A, which equals 2, uh, is it less than 10? What do you think? Yes, this is a true statement, right? So A less than 10, and when this line will be executed, let me print out something like A less than 10, right? So whenever the statement here, whatever we write, can be evaluated to true, right? It's true in nature, right? Everything what is inside body of if statement will be executed, right? However, what I wrote, it's not the full picture what you do have. If statements usually come with else condition. So if A less than 10, then do something else. If it's not 10, right? If it's actually more than or equals 10, then do something different. Print A, something like that. Yeah. Let me execute that. Of course, A less than 10. But if I change A to something like 12, for example, what do you think? I should see what this condition will be executed. What does it mean? We go like computer is stupid, right? It just executes all the commands line by line here, right? It doesn't think, it just does the job, right? So it comes here, A equals to 12, sorry, not a problem, right? It comes here. If, do you remember last exercise, last lesson? Whenever I use variable by name, it will substitute its value, right? So what computer does? If 12 less than 10, no, it's not true, right? It doesn't come here, right? Instead, it comes to else, because if 12 more than or equals 10, it comes to here else, and then it executes everything what is written here. If 12 when less than 10, nothing happens, but it comes to else, because yes, 12 is more than 10. Print A more than 10. Okay, here we go, right? No issue here. Okay, that's actually if statement, but Python allows you even more interesting stuff. There is such stuff as else if. For example, imagine I want to I want to find some kind of region. I want to tell not. I have multiple case scenario. For example, A could, for if A less than 10, I want to write something, right? But when if else, if A more from 10 to 12, I want to write something else, right? And only if A more than 12, when I want to write the third statement, right? How do I do with this stuff? In reality, you want to write something like what? Imagine let me reiterate. I want to do something for a statement. If a less than 10, print something like that, right? Else, if a less than 12, I want to write something else, and only if a more than 12, for example, as an exercise, I want to write the third statement. You can do something like that. If a less than 10, okay, and when it comes to you print a less than 10, when it comes to else statement, you can write something like if a when less than 12, then print something a more than 10 and a less than 12, right? This is what happens. Else, at this point, we are guaranteed that a actually more than or equals 12. Let me write that. What I did, you can see, it's just three conditions. In real life, it could be many more, right? And for each if conditions in terms of range, I need to create new if in this body. So it could be like additional if here and then additional if here, right? Like if I have multiple ranges, it looks ugly, right? Like it's not convenient. And in a lot of languages, it's like what? Python, in this case, it's a little bit more clever. So what it does, we can do something like combine else statement with if statement together on one line. And what makes things very concise. So it's so-called elif command, right? Let me show you. Elif is nothing else than else if, right? So how should I read this command? If less than 10, then do something. Else if a, so when it comes to else if, we are guaranteed a more or equals 10, right? And when else if a less than 12, do something. And finally, if a more than 12, more equals to 12, we execute the third statement. So compare previous stuff with this stuff, right? It's much more concise and easier to read. And I won't open the America right now, but I won't discover the America. But the thing is, like, the major time of the programmer is in reading of something what people created before him or her, right? So if you write concise code with a lot of comments, everybody would appreciate that. So the more concise, the more proper code you write, the cleaner code you write, the better your productivity would be, and the better your company, the better your colleagues would appreciate your efforts to write clean code, right? So compare with previous example with this one. So if statement eventually consists from a lot of body. It has if, it has else if, so-called elif, and else statement. I can add something else, right? Like I can add additional condition elif again, a less than 15, for example, right? I want to write print a actually more or equal 12, right? And a less than 15. Look at that. And here a equals. So again, how do I read that? It's multiple conditions right now, right? In one if statement. If a less than 10, if it's more or equal than 10, but less than 12, it goes here. If it's more or equals 12, it goes here and compares it with a less than 15. And finally, if none of those conditions were executed, were true, it comes here, right? Let us try. So for a equals 12, I should obtain this statement, right? Let us run it. Okay, here we go, right? Let me put something a equals, I don't know, 16. So let us execute it. A more than or equals 15. And that's kind of understandable. Let me delete some strings, what you don't need. So again, how do I read it? 16. 16 less than 10? No. Come here. 16 less than 12? No. 16 less than 15? No. Come here. Okay, finally we are here. 16 more than or equals 15. Okay, fine. Now I want to create a small exercise to show you this case. I want to create something to write what you guys can enter your age, right? And when it will write, the computer will write you whether you are a child, teenager, adult, senior, right? And the criteria what I want to tell is if you are from 0 to 12 years old, you will be a child, right? Here I just we will delete all these lines, so don't worry. If your age is from 13 to 19, you're a teenager. If you are from 20 to 65, you're adult, right? And if your age more than 65, you're a senior, right? So I want to implement this program. By the way, if I want to comment in Python, I can use this hashtag, right? It will comment all these lines and they won't be executed. So first of all, I want to be able to enter something from the keyboard. How do I do that? I want to ask, like, can you please, computer should ask you, could you please enter your age? So how do I do that? In Python, there is a special command, so-called input. And when you enter text that will be executed, let me show you. Age, please enter your age, right? Let me comment, execute. So here you see right now, please enter your age. And I put 12, for example. My age is 12. My psychological age is 65. My body age is 12. So now let me examine this variable age, like here. Again, IPython is super useful tool here for me. Age equals to 12. It's good, but you see those quotation marks here, right? What does it mean? It's indication what it's a string actually. It's a string. It's not integer number. And for me, age is a number, right? It's integer number. It's no good to have age as a string. So what I will do here, and we can recall type conversions. I can convert this text to int variable by just wrapping it with brackets around input command. So if I execute it again, my age is 65. I ask age, what is my age? Here in the 65, but right now you don't see these quotation marks, right? Like quotes here, right? because age right now is an integer number. It's like it's a real number, integer. Sorry, so you can see it here. Like this conversion, the magic happens here. Okay, and now I want to implement that stuff. Like if age less than 0, we will write you are still unborn, man. Okay, now else if age less than 12, but again I will use elif, right? Elif command, elif age less than 12, less or equal 12, right? Print your child a child. You are such a child, right? Okay, again each statement of if or else if will be executed only if expression here, statement itself, is evaluated to be true, right? Whenever I will enter my age, it will start going line by line. Age is less than 0, yes, do this job. No, come to the next line. Age is less than 12, yes, do this job. No, go to the next line. And the next line is like what? And if age less than 19. So at this point, if we come here, we are guaranteed that age is more than 12, right? But we need to make only cap from the top cap. So 19. Here we will do print. You are monster teenager. And leave age less or equal 65. Print eventually you became adult. Else, finally, when we go through all these test cases, at this point we are guaranteed that age is more than 65 because all these conditions cover all the ranges, like from 0 to 12 to 19, from 12 to 19, from 19 to 65, and more than 65. Print time to relax. Okay, now let's check it out how it works, right? I delete all unnecessary strings. Let's execute. It asks you about your age. Let me put like -1. You're still unborn, man. Okay, what sounds great. Let me put something like 20. Who I am. I became adult. What's kind of very nice. Next, I don't know. Let me put 15. You're a monster teenager. So it works. So no worries, guys. Try to use some if statements, and let me know how it works for you. You can post comments if it's not clear. Thank you.